So we are going to talk about slope, all right, which you know already. What's the formula to find slope given 2 points? Not quite. Precious.
y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1.
So it's minus, not plus.
Yeah. She was at the door there, he left. The boy that sits over there.
Okay, so when we're solving for slope, we want to make sure that we label our points just like we did with distance formula, okay? So remember to always label your points. So let's do an example here. When we label the points, we're going to label the points x1, y1, x2, what's the next? y2. Okay, that's just so you don't get mixed up and put things out of order. Now we're just going to use the formula we just wrote up there and plug in. Okay, y2, 3 minus 8 over 2 minus 4 equals. Now you should use your calculator because I know how you guys are about integers, so let's just use the calculators and not try to do it in our heads. So you should do the top and then do the bottom, do them separately. So you should get negative 5 over negative 2, and that will end up being positive 5 over 2. Now, you don't want to write slope as a decimal because we're talking about rise over run, or the change in y over the change in x. Okay, so it does need to show as a fraction. So remember, if you get a decimal in the calculator, you can do math, enter, and it will change it into a fraction. Okay? All right, how about the next one? Can you do that one on your own? Yes? All right, try example 2 and the next one right here. All right, what did you get for the slope for example 2?
Negative 2 subtract 7 is negative 9.
Negative 6 over 1?
Yeah.
Yeah? Anybody not get that? Didn't?
Yeah,
So,
but the denominator can be negative.
you're going to do 6 minus 0, and then negative 3 minus negative 2. So 6 minus 0 is 6. Negative 3 minus negative 2. I'm going to make it a plus. Okay, so that's going to be negative 1. Or negative 1 over 6. Okay, so watch your signs. That's important. It just, the negative goes in front. You just say negative 6 over 1.
Oh,
Even though when you subtract this, it's negative 1. But this is an equivalent to if you had written it like this, 6 over negative 1. Did you write it like that?
No, Nicole said it was
Okay. Does it make sense now?
Yeah.
Okay. I understand why I confused you. I apologize. Okay, how about the next one?
3 over 2.
3 over 2? Do I need to do that one, or are we good? Good? I need to hear everybody say they're good.
It's all good.
All good? Are you sure? 'Cause we're about to do something more difficult. All right. Okay, so let's go down the page. Now we're going to write equations of lines. Again, this is review. You did this in Algebra 1. So equation of a line. The 2 things you need for an equation of the line are what? Slope and y-intercept. Good. Okay, and what's the equation of a line in slope-intercept form? Y equals mx plus b. Okay, in that equation, y equals mx plus b, what is slope?
M.
M. And what is the y-intercept?
B.
B. Okay. We also have this y and this x in this equation. What does the y and the x in that equation represent? What does the y and the x represent? The equation, we always leave the y and the x as variables. Okay? So they represent any point on the line. If you understand that concept, it's going to make your life so much easier. I think that someone went and complained that it was cold because now it's super hot in here. Huh? Yes. Sorry, I had to process that. It's like, what? So it's the rate of speed that you talk. Sorry, go to the bathroom. What?
Y'all listen too slow, that's the problem.
Isaiah's future will be as an auctioneer. Okay, so you need to keep in mind that you always need M and you always need B. Okay? If you look at this sheet that I gave you, the side that says step action table, okay? This step action table is going to walk you through the steps that you need to write an equation of a line, okay? This example is the same one here as example 3, okay? So we're going to do it on this sheet first, and then you can transfer it onto your sheet. Now the steps aren't listed here, so that's why I want you to follow along on this first. We're going to do it together, okay? And then you will have, this is one of those math things that if you follow the steps, you'll get it right every single time, okay? So let me pass out some markers. Okay, so the first thing we are going to do is to find the slope. So if you look at the problem, what are my 2 points? -5, -1, and 5, -3. So how do I find slope? Right. Okay, so that's the first thing you want to do is find the slope. So we're going to do -3 minus -1 over 5 minus -5. Okay, that's the first thing we need is we need slope. Yeah, you can write on that. That's why I gave you the marker. Yes. Yes. Okay, so this turns into plus, so that's -2. This turns into plus, so that's 10. And that reduces to -1/2.
I mean,
1/5.
5.
All right. The next step is to fill in this box of knowledge. Okay? So we need to fill in everything we know. Well, we just figured out what slope was, right? -1/5. My box of knowledge was too small. Okay? Now, this x and y are going to come from one of the points. -5, -1, or 5, -3. It does not matter which point you use. Which one would you like? You will get the same answer. Which point would you like to use? First, second? First? Second? Okay, first wins. So, -5, -1. Everybody see where I got that number from? Yes?
Oh,
Okay, step 3. Solve for B. I don't know what B is. I need to solve for B. So I'm going to solve for B using my y equals mx plus b and the information out of this box of knowledge. Okay, my y was -1. M was -1/5. X was -5 plus b is a variable. I don't know b. Are you with me? A little bit? Question? Yes. Now we need to simplify, and I know that you guys are cringing right now because there's a fraction in there. It's not that bad. Okay. -1 equals -1/5 times -5. +1 plus b. Good. Subtract 1 from both sides. B equals -2. All we did was solve for b. Okay, now all we have to do is plug it in. We have the two things we set out to get, slope and our y-intercept. The only thing you need to keep in mind, because remember there's infinite points on that line, is that the x and the y are no longer values, they're variables. So y equals -1/5 x minus 2. Easy?
Peasy. Woman's peasy.
Okay, so, alright, so you should have gotten, we did this together, y equals -1/5 my x minus 2. Now, my suggestion is when you do these, because you're not going to have this handy-dandy step action table that tells you the steps on the test, okay? What my suggestion would be is to draw your box of knowledge, okay? You know you need the box of knowledge. You need M, you need X, and you need Y. Okay? I'm gonna make my box of knowledge a little larger. What's the other thing I'm gonna need? Eventually. We already did slope. Okay. Gosh. Okay. The end result, when I'm done, needs to be in a form that looks like this. So I'm going to write that over there on the right side of my paper because I know that I'm eventually going to need that. Okay, that's what my answer should look like. So it kind of keeps in focus what you're doing. All right? Now, I need an equation of a line through points -4 and 0, -1, right? So what do I need to do?
Find the slope.
Find the slope. So what did you get as a slope? Because you should have done this already.
-5/1.
-5/1?
Yeah.
I believe you. Okay, so that's my slope. So I'm going to start to fill in my box of knowledge. Not -5/1. Okay, now I need to choose one of these points to find B. So what point do you want to use?
The first one.
The first one? Okay. -1 and 4. And where am I going to use this now?
To plug it in.
Plug it in.
Find B.
So y equals my slope is -5 times y is 4.
Now
I
it's
mean
-1.
-1. X. Plus b. So 4 equals 5 plus b. This is on your paper. You can write this down as we go. So I'm going to,
Subtract 9 on both sides.
good,
B equals -1.
-1. Okay? Okay, now you're not done at this point. Okay? Because remember I wrote down what I wanted here? So what do I need to do?
The formula.
So tell me what it should be.
Y equals -5x minus